Hey guys, it's Joe B. I'm following up with a poker vlog. This is part 5. It's been a while, but I wanted to check in. Still throwing money at the small stakes tournaments. We're talking about the $60 ones. And it hasn't gone well. Just experiencing bad beats in positions where the other players just shouldn't have been playing those cards in the first place. Maybe 10 years ago, I referred to these players as speed bumps. They're not going anywhere in the tournament either, but they can basically do you some serious damage because they just get in the way. This particular day, today, first buy-in, everything was fine. Let's see, small tournament. What was the starting stack? 15,000, 20-minute rounds. Blinds were at 1-2. Second round, there was a limp, and I'm in the cutoff with red queens, so I go to 1,200. What is that, 6x? Goes around, and the UTG limper, who I had already identified as somebody who liked to call crack with ridiculous garbage. She was playing anything interesting no matter what the position. She called, and then the guy between us called, and the flop came 2-4-8 rainbow. She checked, and he fires 2,200. And I was like, wow. I'd run into somebody who flopped top set with 8s, or what's going on here? What was it, 2-4? So what are we looking at, ace-3? I don't know. But then I look at the first actor, and she's already lifting her cards up like she's gonna fold, so I just flat it because I decided to pull a little more value out of this guy. And sure enough, the turn comes and it's a 4, so it's 2-4-8-4, and he shoves, and I'm like, oh Jesus, am I looking at ace-8, king-8, jack-8, and I'm all, it could be ace-4, it could be 3-4, 4-5, 4-6. But you don't even know what these people have because they play anything. So whatever, I flat it, and he's like, oh, nice hand, and he turns over ace-2 for the nothing, right? So just as I'm kind of getting myself ready to rake those chips from right next to me, the 5 rivers, and it leaves me with 3,000 chips left. Anyway, okay, so I scrap it up to maybe 6,000 or so, and I don't know, it just didn't go good. Then they moved me. At some point or another, I'd take a hit again. I just couldn't make anything happen. Every time I was in kind of a flip situation, it wasn't happening for me. So I ended up with about 1,800, and they're like, you're the next big blind, and they move me. So then they redraw the button, and I think I'm the small. And there's a raise. It's like the first or second hand. It's the first hand. There's a raise. It's like a min. Comes all the way around. I see ace-2 diamonds, and I'm like, all right, well, whatever. I couldn't think of a better guy to give my chips away to, so I shoved the ace-2. He calls with ace-king, and we both miss, and that was that. Second buy-in, because all these guys buy in like 6 times. I don't buy in that many times, but here's another one. Did you guys ever do statistics on how well you do on second buy-ins as a business decision? Like, if you total up all your second buy-ins, do they ever amount to anything, or is your game just shit? Like, your luck is bad for the day? That's an open question. How does everybody feel about that? Because me personally, although I'll still play a strong game, or at least I perceive that I am, and I'm making good decisions, second and subsequent buy-ins usually are not a payoff, like a positive EV thing. Anyway, since it was still, what was the round? 2-4-4. I bought back in, and I'm just missing. I am missing flips left and right. Let's see, second or third position, I raise king queen, and it folds around, and the big calls, and it comes king rag rainbow, and she checks, and I'm like, I'm not going to be so obvious about this, so I check behind. Sometimes I do. In most cases I'll fire, but this time I decided to check. Maybe I could get her to fire on trying to steal. I do err on the side of giving people too much credit to make maneuvers. At any rate, the turn was a nightmare for me. It was an ace, and she checks it, and I'm like, huh. I'm like, okay, so she's either completely missed this, or she's got like ace rag, and I don't know, maybe, I don't even know these people, I just bought in. Maybe she's just never acting. Little side story, at the Westgate tournament, I was there at the table, involved in a hand where a lady in seat 1 did not raise aces pre-flop on the flop, on the turn or the river. She never bet her aces. And in the end, she showed aces, and we were all like, what just happened? If you're not going to raise aces, what are you going to raise? So that was weird. At any rate, sometimes I think about that. I'm like, is this one of those ladies who just never raises anything? So I checked the turn. You know, maybe I should have fired. Maybe I should have repped it. But I wasn't in the mood to get spicy on my, like, third hand. And she checks it on the river. And I'm like, fine, I'm not even going to fire here. Mid-pair has a reasonable showdown. I mean, what's going to call me here? And I check behind. She shows ace-jack. Ace-jack. Well, that was the first problem. Ultimately, it turned out to me having something like, what did I have, 4,900? I don't know. No, and at another point I had ace-queen and fired. It was ace-queen first position, which is a real crappy spot to have ace-queen. You telegraph everything, but you could fold it. Huck Seed folded it once on TV. So I go with it. What was the blind? The blind was maybe 600. I don't know, 366. I make it 16, and then a doofy guy behind me calls it, and I don't know. Maybe there's one other with us. Maybe 3 to the flop, and it comes something like 10-5 rag, and I check, and he checks behind. And then the turn, I think I have a gut shot Broadway, something like a king. So I check, and he fires, I think, like 2,200. So I call it, see, maybe I can hit that Broadway, which would have been nice. Would have been nice. But the river was a brick, and I check, and he shoves, and I just fold, and then he shows 5s. So he had flopped a set with 5s. Players at this level will never fold pairs, no matter what the position is. They'll limp their pairs early, and then call almost any raise. Middle position, they'll call almost any raise, but they'll still limp it. And then late position, they're more likely to raise it, but they'll still call almost any raise. It's just weird. Better players at this skill level sometimes are going to overplay their pairs. It's just strange. Like, you'll see them shoving with 2s pre-flop to try and squeeze against like 5 players. So it's just strange. Anyway, I ended up with like 4,900. We'll just say 5,000. I had 5,000, and there's like a limp doofy, same guy, limps early. Maybe one other limper. A guy late position says just call, and he throws in whatever it was, the 600, and I see ace queen again. I'm on the button, so I'm like, well, I'm just all in, and I throw the 5 out, and the blinds fold, and doofy, he snaps it. He calls. He doesn't isolate with his 3s. He calls it. And then weird guy down at the end, the just call, he just calls. None of these guys are isolating. None of them are folding, considering folding. At any rate, you know, in the end, we all turn everything over. Doofy's got 3s, and just call has 8-9 of hearts, and my ace queen whiffed. I think I turned a Broadway draw or something, but it's just no good. So somewhere out there's some player who probably busted in like 50th place, wondering why he didn't do better in the tournament when really his luck ran out, because he's playing 3s that way from second position. So the conclusion today, didn't win any flips and got screwed on a couple of 10-to-1 positions where I had them just dead to rights. So my question to you, everybody out there, in conclusion, is you've got, I don't know, 30, 40, 50, you know, poker YouTuber, vlogger type guys out there, and they're all telling these stories about how they built their bankrolls, and now they play with freaking Negreanu on their left and Alec Torelli on their right and all this and all that. And it's like, okay, Rampage, for example, is one of those guys. Great videos. Fun guy. I enjoy watching him. But for every Rampage out there, how many guys like me are there? Like, is there 1,000 players like me who are still doing it right, playing it right, but just not getting the same opportunities card-wise? Or, I mean, how, like, realistically, for every winning poker player that you see doing well, there's got to be 1,000 guys who aren't. And at what point do they just call it quits? Or, you know, at what point does your upswing occur 60 years from now during your period of literally being dead? You know, you just go down, 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 like Gus Hansen. You know, he lost somewhere between 9 and 12 million, and what happened? He's not a bad player. So those are my thoughts. You know, anybody who can chime in and drop some real wisdom on that. You know, there's also the lingering thought is you don't see pro players playing these shit tournaments. The $60 buy-in, the 20-minute rounds. You don't see it happening. So is it even possible? As players, as patrons of the casino, we like to see the cards. Sometimes you just want to go see some hands. You know, you want to play a tournament, you feel a little adrenaline, maybe order a soda or something and experience the poker room. But if the $60 tournament is all that is, and it's not possible to win, it'd be nice to get a definitive sounding board off a few other people on how they think that resounds. Anyway, this is Joe B with some poker thoughts on the Vlog 5. Not going to quit playing, just a little down about it today. Take care.